Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Georgetown Eagles Coaches Show here tonight live at Pok-E-Jo's Barbecue in Georgetown, Texas. I'm Wally Harmon alongside Dave England. Our sidekick, Kelly Duvall, is off in Utah, but we'll be back before Friday night, so hopefully he'll make it in time. The Eagles coming off week one, a tough loss to the Belton Tigers at home, 35-31. Belton kind of got some revenge from last year after the Eagles got the win on the road, and so some things to learn for the Eagles, but a good ball game. Friday night was a fun one to watch at home. A good crowd on the first night of the season. But now we turn the attention to week two on the road. Copper's Cove, another 6A opponent that the Eagles will take on here in non-district play. Dave, thoughts about the Belton Tiger game?
Yeah, it was a great game. I love seeing Georgetown schedule those 6A opponents, and I believe that, we were in the game the whole time, and it was very, very close. And just there at the end, couldn't quite convert. But I mean, hats off to the Eagles. Played them extremely close the whole time, and I thought it was a really great home opener. It was great to see such a large crowd out there, and just back to Friday Night Lights. In the fall, there's really nothing better. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, Friday Night Lights. Funny you say that because we'll have a neat little discussion about that as the Georgetown ISD Athletic Complex went to some new LED lights, and sounds like one of the officials kind of shut that down after a nice touchdown by the Eagles, and so we'll discuss that. It was pretty neat, the upgrade in technology that we saw there. But some different things to talk about, and we'll talk to Coach Griffin here in a little bit. But, man, we got the Players of the Week, the Booster Club meeting on Monday. Got to see some of the highlights and different plays from the week and different things that the team is going to work on. So the challenge is there. You talked about it. You hit on that. A 6A opponent in Belton, a 6A opponent in Copper's Cove, and then a 5A last year. I assume they're still D2. Liberty Hill. Yeah. Three powerhouse, three big programs to challenge yourself as a young, inexperienced team before you even get to week one of district play, which is the Cedar Park Timberwolves. We say that. Cedar Park kind of got their season off on a rough start last week. They took a big loss to open their season, and so it shows they're human too. But a good challenge for this team early on in the season before we even get to district play.
Yeah, and I think it just speaks a lot for you already have some key leadership in the right positions, and then you do have some folks that are first time on varsity. But for them to be playing that well, you didn't get the W, but gosh, plenty of coaching opportunities, I like to always say, but they were right there. They were in it the whole time, and just a couple of missed opportunities. But, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do against Copper's Cove. And, Copper's Cove struggled against Stony Point this last week, but I don't think we can sleep on them at all.
They did run the ball well, looking at some of their stats out of the week against Stony Point, but they did take it on the chin, 69-27, I believe was the final. Stony Point put it on Copper's Cove. So a totally different mindset maybe for the Bulldogs of Copper's Cove coming out of a week where you weren't in the game to where the Eagles come out of a game going, we could have won that and should have won that game.
And both teams are looking for their first win on the season, so it's going to be a fight.
We'll take a quick timeout, come back. In a minute, we'll be joined by Coach Griffin as we continue the Georgetown Eagle Coaches Show here live on SHN Sports. Welcome back to the Georgetown Eagle Coaches Show, live from Pok-E-Jo's Barbecue here in Georgetown, Texas. Dave England here on my left, and joined by head coach Chuck Griffin. Coach, a lot to learn from a good ball game Friday night.
Absolutely, a lot to learn from. You know, we've got a lot of work still to do, but we did some really good things throughout the game. So we try to focus on those this week, things we got to do better, but also the things that we did and stay positive, getting ready for this next week versus Copper's Cove.
A battle with Belton. We're right in that ball game the entire time, back and forth. A lot of good things. The one thing that we discussed a lot through the past couple of weeks with you even was the fact of watching what the battle of in the trenches was going to be like.
Sure.
We lost 9 linemen last year, and so a fresh start for these offensive linemen. Thought the battle at the line was really good.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job. I thought our offensive line, we rushed the ball for over 200 yards, so I thought those guys did a tremendous job getting better and getting used to 5A varsity football. And I think our defensive line took great steps from the scrimmage versus Glenn to this last week. Held them to just 84 yards rushing. So I thought they did a good job. Learning how to get the pad level down, learning how to play a little more physical. So they both of those groups improved dramatically last week.
And we talk about the defensive line, the unit of the week. I printed it out when we talked about it Monday at the Booster Club meeting. The defensive line was the unit of the week, and they did good things. Holding a team like that to 84 yards rushing is quite a feat, especially week one. So it speaks volumes to them. Coming out of a tough loss, where you look at, we discussed Copper's Cove coming off of a big loss. What has been the reaction of the players this week in practice?
I think they've been pretty focused, getting ready for this week. They were not, I guess there was a little bit of shell shock when you lose. Nobody likes to lose. But they came back Monday ready to practice. Defense has had really great week of practice this week. Offense is learning a few new things. We're working against a couple of different fronts, so there's been a little bit of learning going on this week. And one of them is new, something we haven't done much. So there's been a little bit of that. But we had a great day today, and the kids are ready to go play and get a win.
Copper's Cove rushed for what shows online, and we don't have exact stats, but just over 200 yards against the Stony Point team in a ball game they really weren't in.
Right.
How does Copper's Cove look in the running game? Is that another challenge this week to stop that?
Yeah, for sure it is. They're really similar in the running style and the running game to what Belton was. I think Craig Brown, the running back, is better. He's a good back, and their quarterback is a little bit of a run threat, not major, but he can pull it and go run a little bit. So they are going to run the ball well effectively. They're huge up front, even bigger than Belton. It's just kind of 6A football. They're bigger than Belton, but I think we got a good game plan, and we're going to have to stop the ISO and stop the counter, stop the power, and those kind of things this week. But a really similar running game to what we saw last week.
You gotta love your senior kicker. I always talk about kickers. How excited is Carson this week? After he had one of his probably best games. Yeah,
he did for sure, and longest kick of his career. With a 41-yard field goal the other night, and he didn't bat an eye. Went out there and nailed it, and was good with it. So did a great job kicking extra points on the night. So we're looking for big things out of Carson for him to continue to improve throughout the season.
I always think back to that overtime game over in Hutto. Yeah. When we won it, with that field goal. So it's always nice having a veteran, for sure, returning kicker. So.
To shed some spotlight on the players, we got the players of the week, big plays of the week that you went through at the Booster Club meeting on Monday night. But we want to make sure we bring that to the attention this week before we move on. Defensive line player of the week, Carson Guido.
Yep, Carson had a really good week. He's came to us from baseball a couple years ago, and it's just growing and getting better. I say he's growing. He's like 6'9". I think Carson is. He's 6'6", but, he is just growing as a football player and continuing to get better and did some really good stuff for us last week.
Linebacker, Ian Lewis.
Ian is a junior, starting for us at outside linebacker, and he was all over the field, making plays on both sides of the, on his side and from the backside, and then also anything coming to him. He did a really good job.
And then we go to the defensive back, Trent Mcconnell, the senior.
Trent's a 3-year starter for us, kind of the captain of the defense, and runs the show back there in the back end. Had a really good game, making some tackles at the line of scrimmage, had some pass breakups, just a good job.
Trent had along with some other guys, had a challenge this week of stopping the big receiver.
Yeah, the big tight
Henry,
end. Yeah, for sure.
and thought they did a good job.
We did. He had one touchdown on us down there close, but had a big fourth down conversion. We were in position, and he's just, a good player. Ended up making a catch, but really, those were his 2 catches on the night. So I think they did a good job of slowing him down.
The House of Pain. What is that? And Bryson Hanks, his name's here.
So that's what we call our defense, the House of Pain. That's the name they chose for themselves a couple years ago, and that's kind of a Coach Pat deal. And I'll let him explain it one day to you up here on the radio show. But our House of Pain player, that's our defensive player of the game, was Bryson Hanks, and Bryson had a really big game for us. Was all over the field. He finished with double-digit tackles and had a really big night.
Multiple times, Dave would come down from the sideline and call out, man, number 3 again, Hanks.
Yep.
There he came. And it was just popping out around the end. And duly noted, he had a great game. And multiple tackles into double digits is something to be proud of, especially in week 1. You're playing a bigger team and getting your feet underneath you. Offensive line player of the week, Jerry Phillips.
Jeremiah Phillips, our left tackle, had a good night. Just a senior, kind of anchored our offensive line for us and graded out the highest and did a good job blocking up front for us.
Wide receiver Hayden Daring.
Hayden only had 1 catch. He had a 65-yard touchdown on his catch, but one of the things he did, he plays on just about every special team, and then also he lined up. We had a kind of a not a bad injury, but someone had to come out for a little bit, so he jumped in there and played some receiver at different spots. So he played multiple spots at receiver, blocked well for us, had the big run and touchdown, so he was our wide receiver of the week.
And then you cross over in the big plays. He's listed under the big hit.
Yep, he tackled number 84, just kind of a solo tackle in space on a kickoff. So he was our big hit of the week.
Going to our offensive back, Andrew Petter.
Yeah, Andrew's a sophomore and doing a great job for us. Plays some running back, plays some receiver. His kick returner for us, kind of all over the field, and he had a big night, just playing all over the place for us. We asked a lot out of him and started cramping in the first quarter and managed to play through that the rest of the game as well.
It's fun watching the difference between the 2 running backs. One of them just power, run them over, and the other one's shifty, and you're not going to be able to tackle him really easy. I'm looking forward to seeing yards after contact on this young man at the end of the year.
Absolutely.
And as you say that, in the different styles, Code Blue, Devin Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Devin's just senior leader. Played a lot last year. Was kind of our finisher in games. Came in and finished every game for us. Come in middle of the third quarter, fourth quarter, and kind of just punish people. And that's just his style of running. He's going to run downhill and come after you. And Devin had just shy of 100 yards rushing on the night. He's also on every special team, and had some big plays. He was big hit of the night, I think. Actually blocked him right into one of the chain crew and took him out as well. We had to stop the game for that for a little while. But Devin had a big night.
That explains the chain crew getting the medical attention over there.
Yeah.
We couldn't figure out what happened.
Yeah,
Makes a lot more sense. So Devin making sure they're paying attention on the far sideline. And then you look at special teams. Carson Salcedo, what a big field goal there. It was at a critical point of the game, too, nailing that 41-yard field goal.
Yep.
What's the confidence in him, having someone like him back there now, knowing in a game where you need those 3 points?
I mean, we've got great confidence in him. Right now he's 5 for 5, or I guess 6 for 6 as a varsity field goal kicker, and probably 57 or 58 of 60 extra points, or maybe even better than that. So, he's had a great career so far, so we got all the confidence in the world putting him out there.
And one last thing we'll cover before we take our break. The scout team players of the week. I love this when you talked about it at the Booster Club meeting, and it needs to be said, and they need to be a showcase from my point of view. These are the kids that play a vital role throughout practice for the week for you.
These are JV kids for us that run our scout team. These guys, they practice before school and after school because they've got to get their practice in. They got to help us with varsity practice, and scout team is tough. Nobody likes to play scout team. But it's just part of the process of being a Georgetown Eagle. Everybody's going to go through it. And these guys did a great job on the week just showing out and helping us get reps against Belton and what Belton was going to look like. As a matter of fact, one of those kids is going to come up with us this week on varsity just because he did such a good job, and we're a little short-handed at one spot, so he's going to come up and work out with us on the varsity this week.
Before we move on to Copperscove, I'm curious about the lights. What can you tell us about the lights at the stadium?
Well, the UIL passed a rule, evidently. I don't know. That's an athletic director decision. Thankfully, I don't have to make that.
Yeah.
But evidently, you cannot do it during the game time once the game starts. You do it pregame, do it at halftime, do it at the end of the game, but you cannot do it. So the first couple of touchdowns, they flashed the lights, and the official said, no, we're not going to do that anymore.
Okay.
So
I didn't know who you were talking to. You yelled my name a couple times. I was like, he doesn't talk to me during the game.
I was trying to get somebody on the sideline to tell him upstairs, stop flashing the lights around before they call us for a penalty.
I was like, Kelly, tell Curtis quick.
That's what I was trying to get done. I was trying to figure out some way to get in contact with the booth up there. So.
And thankfully, the athletic director was up there.
Yeah.
And he handled it for everybody.
Yeah.
So, but to give some praise to those scout team players of the week, Isaiah Justice, Weston Bruce, Landry Leggett, and I'm going to mess up his last name, Thomas Polania.
Yep.
So those guys just stood out, and it's important. And the thing is, it was neat that you talked about at the Bush Club. There's only 3 or 4 teams that have 5 full teams.
Right.
And so finding games for a couple of these teams is difficult. You have to find other schools. And it just speaks to the volume of the program of Georgetown and what it builds and what it means to then be on Friday nights. Those lights come on. It's a totally different aspect than Thursday night or a Wednesday night game. Yep. The crowd's there cheering you on. It's all about you at that point. And so it's awesome to see that these players are making an impact and challenging their varsity team to be better and to be the best that they can be, but yet pushing themselves to get to that point. We'll take a quick break, be back with more Georgetown Eagle Coaches Show here on SHN. Back alive here at Pok-E-Jo's Barbecue for the Georgetown Eagle Coaches Show. Last week we were in the locker room with decals and dads.
If you don't know who that is, that's Miss Kay back there in the back. I think she's our biggest fan.
Yeah, we'll take it. We love seeing Miss Kay around.
Miss Kay was on the radio show last year. So, she was on the radio show last year.
We're early in the season, Miss Kay. We will find time. As we get ready, we're back with Coach Griffin, myself, Coach with Dave England. And, Coach, just looking at it, the district had a rough week.
We did. District 11 5A had a rough week. We did.
Pflugerville and Leander are 1-0. And Anderson, Maynard, Georgetown, Hendrickson, Cedar Park, and Weiss
that's a flip-flop,
are all 0-1. And so a challenge this week as a district as a whole to get back at it as everyone faces off this week. The one thing I was hearing about Leander this morning on a local sports show and talking about they favored Leander to get their second win in a row, which I think they went 26 games in a row without a win.
Right.
And so it's a different outlook when I pulled that up today, looking at it going, wait a sec. Leander's top of the district right now after week one with a win. And some of the other teams, Cedar Park, Georgetown, Hendrickson, Weiss, all with one loss. And so as we go into Copper's Cove Friday night, we're on the road, just up the road, not too far away, playing the Bulldogs. They're looking for their first win. Georgetown looking for their first win. What are you looking to see this week?
I want to see we've got to play fast, physical, offensively. You got to take care of the football, number one. I think if we can do those things, and we're going to have a good night. And defensively, got to stop the run. That's the biggest thing. Make sure the quarterback stays in the pocket and stop the run. So those will be our keys to the game this week. We got to play well in special teams, obviously, but hopefully we can get an advantage or two there. But, our kids have had a really good week of practice, preparing, and we were really close. This sounds kind of bad for a coach to say. This is not really coach speak, but, we were really close to that game being a 21-point win in our favor. Mm-hmm. We're 4 or 5 plays just inches off, and those are some of the things that one shows our youth and just experience in that level of a game and that tight of a game. That we want to continue to build on. That's one of the reasons we choose these first 3 games, so that we can get ready for district when those games count and get ready to do that.
And so you challenge these. We talked about that last week at Decals with Dads, and I want to address that again. Not many schools. What was it called? A cream puff schedule. Mm-hmm. I liken it to Alabama, probably the best college football team out there. You can argue that with Clemson and Ohio State. But then I think their first game is Mercer, but then you've got teams like Clemson playing Georgia week 1. Georgetown's not going and scheduling a 4A or a 3A team. Mm-hmm. It's 2 6A schools and a 5A in Liberty Hill that is a powerhouse football program year in and year out. Is that the challenge you wanted for these kids?
Absolutely. It's something we've got to do. One of the things we liked about that too is those games were close. My first year here, we were traveling to Abilene, and that's a good road trip. So that's part of it. The other part is those are good 6A programs. We talked about our 5 teams, and that's a huge point for us. Player of the week, you mentioned Jeremiah Phillips. Jerry was a blue teamer as a sophomore, a silver teamer, and now as a varsity starter. And the reason he's able to do that is because we have 5 football teams, so he can play all the way up through. A good receiver we had last year, Brandon Bradford, was a B-team freshman player and a B-team sophomore player, and then he's a first-team all-district guy as a junior and senior. Mm-hmm. So having those guys play in those games provides experience. So that's one of the reasons we play 6As, because we want the opportunity to play 5 football games a week. Mm-hmm. On our schedule, there's only 3 times it's happening. So our B teams have to our JV white and our JV blue have got our freshman white and freshman blue. They've got to go find a completely different schedule, so that's a little challenging. But that's what we want our guys to do. That's part of the process of becoming a Georgetown Eagle, is learning how to play week in and week out, and we need that with those 5 football teams. So that's one of the reasons we schedule these guys. Part of scheduling Liberty Hill, they're probably going to be in our district next year. So that was one of the reasons scheduling Liberty Hill. Let's play them before they get in our district, because playing against the slot T is completely different, like anything else you do. So the more experience we could get at playing at it before it counts in district play was important as well.
Speaking of that different schedule, I know there's a game going on tonight.
There is, yeah. Cove actually didn't have one of their JV teams, so our JV blue team is playing Buda Johnson right now over at the high school, and they were up 8-0 when I left to come to the radio show in the first quarter. So they were having a good night so far.
And I think it's safe to assume, but I want you to speak on that. The program from freshman, 2 teams, JV 2 teams, and varsity, it's the same schematic. Mm-hmm. These kids are running the same plays and getting the same experience to be helped, like with Jeremiah Phillips, to develop. Yeah, so when he gets to that point, he's familiar with your system.
Right. I mean, really, honestly, we have 13 teams because we're running the same stuff all the way down in the 7th grade. So we're trying to teach our kids what the system is about and what it means, and hopefully they grow through that. So, honestly, we have 13 teams, 7th through 12th grade, and that's we want to go undefeated every week. And the junior highs will actually start playing next Tuesday night. They'll start playing their schedule, and so it's important at all levels.
You've got a youngster that went up through all those teams over the years, is now the quarterback coach over there in Hutto. Young man
absolutely.
named Hubenek.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
So now we look forward tonight. One of the teams playing at home against Buda Johnson tomorrow night. There's let's see, JV is at home. Freshmen are on the road.
JV's at home. Freshman is in Cove on the road.
And then Friday night, 7 o'clock, we'll have pregame about 6:30 live on SHN. We think all of our video issues have been addressed, so we'll be live and on the air. I know I felt horrible because Peggy Griffin's in Florida watching, and without a video feed, that stressed me out because I knew I disappointed, I don't know how many, but I knew one. And so
right.
we are going to right that ship this week. But we'll be on the road with everybody. SHN will be there and bring it to you live. And so thank you for taking the time, Coach.
Got it.
Look forward to this each and every week as we go through the season. We'll take a quick timeout. We're going to come back, and I think we're going to go and bring Darson Harmon on and chat with him for a minute.
All right.
And continue it here in just a minute live on SHN with the Georgetown Eagle Coaches Show. Welcome back to the Georgetown Eagle Coaches Show live from Pok-E-Jo's Barbecue here in Georgetown, Texas. We're joined now by senior quarterback Darson Harmon. Darson, a tough start to the year. Your senior year, a lot. I'm going to say it comes across as a lot of pressure on you, rests on your shoulders. A 3-year starter.
Right.
You're the leader of the offense and a leader of this team. What's the thought process here going into week 2? A tough loss, a good game, but a tough loss.
I'm not too worried about these next up-and-coming games. We have a young offense, young defense, have a lot of people that haven't played a varsity game before, and I'm not too worried about it. We'll get everything fixed up. Yes, we should have won that Belton game, but, you lose, you move on to the next game, and I think we're ready for Cove.
Something that a quarterback is faced with is decisions in and out of that game on every play on the offensive side of the ball. A couple of turnovers in the game. But one thing I've heard this week that I loved to hear from a coach that I had to ask you about is the mindset of, okay, I made a mistake and it's over with. We're on to the next one. Like, I'm not going to hold on to that. I'm going to go on. As a senior, is that easier to do now, to push yourself and, hey, I made a mistake, we're going to learn from it, we can move on? Or is it something that you try not to dwell on? What's that battle with yourself?
I think I'm pretty good about moving on to the next play. Last year and the year before, if I made a turnover, it's like, dang, I'm letting down all these seniors. But now that I'm in the senior spot, I really have to be able to overcome that adversity and be able to make a turnover and turn around from it and go make a scoring drive. So.
Speaking of scoring drives, 61-yard, believe it was on a 4th down. Mm-hmm. I think it was a 4th and 2.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden we look up and here is Darson darting all the way down and no one caught you. Beautiful run there.
Thank you.
Walk us through that play, what you saw and what the play call was and where it went from there.
So really it was about 4th and 2. Really that play call was just for me to get the first down, nothing more. Get as much yardage as you can. I was supposed to get maybe 2 to 4 yards as much as I could, and all of a sudden O-line made a good hole, and I just went up, and all of a sudden I saw green, and I just started running. So,
how much fun is it? How exciting is it to see how the O-line worked, this last game?
It's definitely the best feeling just to see an open hole and just take off. I think that's one of my favorite things about football is just being able to make a play and turn the game around. But, yeah, it was awesome.
It's got to be so much fun because you've got some great running backs, great receivers, one that's got some speed so
Right.
you can, launch it.
Exactly.
Because you've got an arm and then you could just take off running. So it's all the playbook again this year is wide open and with your senior leadership.
For sure.
There was a couple of times, and maybe I'll see Coach's reaction as we discuss this, where you're headed towards the sideline, and a lot of times you're like, hey, man, the quarterback steps out of bounds, avoids the big. Yeah. Is that something you look for? I mean, it's not like you're the small quarterback, 6'4", 220, not afraid to lower the shoulder. Is that something you look forward to? Coach, don't get too mad on that question, but it's that opportunity to lower the shoulder and make someone else pay.
Right.
Is that something you look forward to? But got to kind of temper that with not making sure we don't get hurt, that we're there for our team.
So pretty much my sophomore year, I was pretty good about running out of bounds and not taking hits. And all of a sudden, my coaches are like, "Hey, we need those extra yards. You need to start learning how to lower your shoulder." And I think I've progressed over the years, and now I'm actually able to do it. But we actually need all those yards, so you have to fight for every yard that you can.
Mm-hmm.
That was one thing I was so excited about. The first time you went around that far right side towards the Belton sideline and then ran over one of the Belton players in front of their own bench. To me, as a fan of the game and getting to broadcast it, that was awesome. And so I imagine for yourself, hey, it is an important 2 of 3 yards.
Right.
Then what does that speak to? The defensive going, holy cow, he just ran over me.
Right.
I don't want that again. And so it was fun to watch. And so hopefully those decisions are tempered in there. And if the bigger guy comes, we may make that better. But it was awesome to watch. And so as we go into week 2, what do you want to see? What are you going to push this offense and try to lead this team for as we go into Copper's Cove Friday night?
I want to see a lot of progress in the offense, which we have done this week. Overcoming that loss, I think practice has gotten a lot better, especially today was probably our best offensive practice all year. But I think seniors are starting to get a little better at leading, and wherever your leaders go is wherever your team's going to go. And I think we're getting better every day.
Awesome. We're not to look too far forward, but in college, are you looking forward to playing football in college?
I am still trying to figure that out. COVID kind of pushed everything back, so it's kind of annoying and stressful, but everything will work out.
Sure.
All right, Darcy, we appreciate having you on the show. We go and we'll take a timeout. I think we're going to get a surprise visit from the defensive leader, Mr. Trent Mcconnell, when we come back here on the Georgetown Eagle Coaches Show.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Georgetown Eagle Coaches Show, live here from Pok-E-Jo's Barbecue in Georgetown, Texas. The first day of September 2021.
Dove season.
Dove season. I heard the pops firing off early this morning. Hopefully no players skipped practice this morning out on a hunt. Mr. McConnell, that wasn't you, was it?
No, sir.
We're joined now by senior defensive back Trent Mcconnell wears number 18, one of the leaders of the Eagle defense. Trent, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
A good game last week, a battle with Belton. Come in here as the defensive back player of the week. On the defensive side of the ball, you're looked to as one of the leaders. You've been on the defensive side for several years now, a starter and one of the senior starters with experience, which is not many out there this year, and that youthfulness that Coach was talking about. What kind of pressure does that put on you? You liking that, you want it, and you thrive on it, or where does that lead you this year as your senior year to make a difference?
Yeah, it means a lot. Like I've been through the fire, been through those Friday night lights. A lot of kids haven't. I mean, majority of our team hasn't. So they just look to me, and I'm ready to show them how we do it at Georgetown.
How was practice this week? You guys come off a tough loss, a battle back and forth. What a challenge last week in the big man Henry, covering him and doing a good job. What was the defensive mindset this week, and how did you guys respond in practice?
Yeah, I feel like the last 2 weeks of practice have been our best 2 weeks since we started. It's been really good this week. Kind of the same game plan. We just got to stop the run. They don't have it, Henry, thank goodness. But, yeah, we just got to stop the run, play physical, play hard, get 9 hats to the football every play.
You good, Dave?
Good.
In that nine hats to the football, that's something the coach was talking about the last couple of weeks, and the more hats to the ball, the better. And see the pursuit and to that ball and everything, knowing that Copper's Cove wants to run, knowing that they went just over 200 yards against Stony Point. Your challenge as the leader to get guys in position to lead that defense. Is that the focus this week for you guys? Is it on the run, but yet maybe some man-to-man? What are y'all? I guess y'all's strategy this week. What is your?
Yeah, we gotta get lined up right. That's our plan every single play. Get lined up right, get the call, and just play fast, play hard, play downhill, trust your keys, and go to work.
So now we go from Belton to Copper's Cove. Some of the different. In next week to face off against Liberty Hill, we'll be at home, but a totally different defense.
Yeah, completely different.
No rest for the weary, right?
No.
You guys will come right back to practice and prepare for a different offense that you haven't seen, that you don't see much in high school football at all. How important is that for you guys to make sure that you're there mentally and focused each and every day?
Yeah, you just got to go to work every single day, lock in. Next week's completely different. It's nothing like you'll ever see all season long. So you just got to bring an attitude of I'm going to learn what to do this week and go beat the Panthers next week.
You know, with Georgetown's offense being able to produce so many yards and sustained long drives, it probably helps y'all to come off the sidelines well rested and live up to the House of Pain, right?
Yes, sir.
What does that House of Pain mean to you as a senior now? The coach has labeled it. He challenges you guys. What does that mean as a senior? What is it your goal?
Yes, sir. We take pride in that at Georgetown, being gritty, being physical, playing tough. We buy. Coach Pat says that's been his thing for a while. We buy into that, and that's why you see Georgetown's defense playing so hard, playing so physical each and every week.
And that's one thing we see each and every week when you're talking about it. Sometimes it's hard in non-district play to find opponents that want to come play a program that's known to play physical from the first minute to the last minute, fly to the ball and hit people and not be afraid to do it. And so something that we like to watch and we see here is, the defensive back player of the week in game number 1. So it speaks a lot about your response in your senior year. And so now the challenge to go back out on the field and to right the wrongs and to make things better. And so as that senior, everyone looks to you. The experienced one in the backfield. Are you ready for that? Is this what you've been looking forward to?
Yes, sir. I love that. I love that pressure. You dream of this when you're little. I mean, now we're in that spot. I'm in that spot, and ready to lead these guys. We're gonna go do that. Just do that every single week. Just be that guy that they can look to when they don't know what's going on. When the bullets start flying on Friday night, you just got to be there for them.
And also, too, you're in a position, being a 3-year starter with so much experience, you're also able to pass the torch to maybe some juniors on the defense and show them the way so that you keep
that
building
Georgetown way. Yes, sir. That House of Pain, that grittiness, show them, just pass it on to them. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Well, Trent, thanks for joining us. We look forward to Friday night. We'll be watching number 18 in the defensive backfield, the senior defensive back Trent McConnell. Thanks for joining us. We'll take a short break and be back with a little trivia section here on the Georgetown Coaches Show, live on SHN. Welcome back to the Georgetown Eagle Coaches Show, live here from Pok-E-Jo's Barbecue in Georgetown, Texas. Is that a little better there? We got we changed it up there. Dave changed it up on me. We're going to skip the trivia for a second because we got that offensive-defensive battle. We're going to do the trivia this year. But first, we're going to go to the Booster Club president, Mr. Reggie Mcconnell. I tell you what, as a first year being able to be a part of this, I'm excited to be doing the play-by-play for Georgetown football. Being around different schools as my kids grew up, now that they're all in college or older, I've never seen the passion of a high school football program that I've seen at Georgetown in a few short weeks as I've gotten to know Reggie at the Booster Club meetings and talk to Coach Griffin on multiple occasions and see these kids work hard. It's impressive, Reggie. You guys, you work tirelessly to raise funds, to be involved as parents and as a Booster Club to give these boys the best program out there.
Yes, sir. It's really important to this community. We spend a lot of hours just planning and working and raising money for the football team. Without our help, our guys wouldn't be dressed near as nicely as they do every week. They wouldn't have as good of facilities as they have. So it's a special place to be.
What do we got going on with the Booster Club? I know we had Meet the Eagles just the other night, just over a week ago. From what I could tell, it was a huge success. I tell you what, I was kind of bummed. I heard there was this beautiful quilt made that went for a crazy amount of money. That was just gorgeous. I got to see it the first night it was unveiled at the Booster Club meeting, and man, I tell you what, the time and effort that goes into just everything, from something that simple to the volunteers and everything. This Booster Club, what are we looking at? What do we got going this year so far?
Yeah, so Meet the Eagles was a huge success. Made as much money as we've made in a while. We've started doing Thursday night concession stands, our sub-varsity play on the practice field now. We did really well with that the first night. So, yeah, we got some good things coming up.
I will have to say, if you're a fan of Georgetown Eagle football, you know, your son doesn't have to be on varsity to be part of the booster club and be active. I didn't have any skin in the game. I had 2 daughters, and I still joined the booster club. Kelly Duvall suckered me in, and I'm just a huge Georgetown Eagle football fan, kind of
Yes,
like
sir.
Chuck back there. And so get involved with the booster club.
Absolutely.
Join up, help out. You can help out in many different areas. There's so many fundraising events, and then you can help
Yes,
out
sir.
on the field with the inflatable run through, the kiddos run through, and you know, if you're a fan of Georgetown Eagles, get involved.
Yeah, there's plenty to do. We have plenty of sign-up spots available if anybody wants to get involved. We just like I said, we run that concession stand. That takes a lot of manpower. We put the inflatable up. We host a tailgate before every home game. So if you want to help, there's always something to do.
Speaking of that tailgate, that was such a neat experience on my first night to go out there. I mean, the food was all right. The fajitas, guys, y'all didn't miss anything, but the fajitas were wonderful. And then to see the team walk through and to see Coach Griffin, and I tell you what, we discussed this up in the booth before the game started. You can talk to Coach Griffin anytime. Always got a smile on his face, a friendly handshake. When that team came walking through, it was fun to watch the intensity. It was time. And then they had to go sit for almost an hour and a half due to the lightning delay. But it was such a neat experience because as soon as someone goes, the team's coming, it was like, fajitas what? I mean, everything dropped.
I'm pretty sure some fajitas burned during that time. Sorry, we had plenty, though.
Where's Eagle Nation going to grab a bite to eat before the game in Coppers Cove?
At Coppers Cove, there's a restaurant called Giovanni's Restaurant and Pizzeria.
Okay.
I have the address here if you'll give me just a second. It is 115 West Highway 190. Supposedly it's about 5 minutes from the stadium, so it's a good location. They're going to give us a whole room to ourselves. So when you walk in, tell them you were just Georgetown Boosters, and they'll sit you back there, and we'll have our own room.
Awesome.
Meeting time Friday, about 4:45, 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it's going to start about 4:30, 4:45, somewhere in there. I know everybody can't get there right at that time, but we'll be there till around 6, something like that. So come on out. It'll be a good time.
And speak on the Friday night home games when we do the tailgating and everything. It's not just for Booster Club members.
Absolutely not. It's for everybody. Yes, sir.
And tell us about that and when people can come and should come to make sure they can be there to line up when the boys come through and the team heads to the field.
So we provide the meals at Booster Club. We do take donations to help cover the cost. That's not a fundraiser for us, but we do take some money. Whatever you feel like to give, that's good with us. We start serving at 5, and then the boys walk through somewhere around 5:45, and then we will keep serving till around 6:15. But most of us on the tailgate crew are also on the field crew, so we've got to get that wrapped up and get down on the field and start getting the blow-ups going and all that.
Field crew is Mr. Harmon does that. I saw it was crazy watching them. Man, they were pulling it out as we walked up last week. I mean, it's an intense deal. Everyone playing a role, and so talking about volunteers and there's slots available, especially having this new concession stand to run on Wednesday and Thursday nights, needing parents from literally every team, freshmen, both freshman teams, both JV teams to help out, so parents can watch their own child as they play. And I'm sorry, guys, I say child. You're always a child to your parents, I promise. But
Man-child.
well, looking at some of these big boys over here, I say that reluctantly so you don't come past this table over here. But it's to watch your kid is the most important thing, and to have another parent step up to allow you to be a part of that. And so that is important. We get those volunteers and to continue this booster club. It's been fun to watch, and so it's exciting that everyone plays a role from people that like myself. I have never once had a kid enrolled in a Georgetown school, but I spend most of my nights preparing for Georgetown football and spending time watching this sport and hanging out with people from Georgetown now that I moved here since my kids are gone. But it's an important, vital part. And so
Yeah, it is.
being a part of the Booster Club, what do they need to do? Who do they need to see? How do you get involved?
You can contact me. through my email. It's rmcconnell6532 at Yahoo. Also, Christy Fisher is another point of contact for us. But really, just any of the officers, myself, Kyle, Jonathan Saucedo, both of the Coopers, Michelle and Tracy Cooper. If you'll get in contact with us, we'll give you plenty of good jobs to do.
And then Monday night at the field house.
Every Monday night, 6 o'clock,
you know,
Booster Club meeting. That's a perfect time to come up and get involved.
And a quick, pretty much right at an hour, we get to see some of the highlights.
Yeah, that's a great time, too. And it's not just for varsity. The JV coaches and the freshman coaches come in, and they have a highlight reel ready to go. They have players of the week. They mention kids by name. There's not very many places to do that for their sub-varsity. So it's for everybody, and then Coach Griffin does the varsity highlights. And so it's a really good time to be able to see that and hear Coach's perspective on the game.
Well, Friday night, we go to Coppers Cove. We're going to take a quick timeout. Thanks to Reggie Mcconnell, the Booster Club president, for joining us. We'll be back real quick. We've got 4 trivia questions for week 1, the offense versus the defense. As we push towards the end of the year for a champion, we'll have the trophy presented there at the end of the season at the last Coaches Show. So stick with us. We'll be right back with more Georgetown Eagle Coaches Show on SHN. Welcome back to the Georgetown Eagle Coaches Show here at Pok-E-Jo's Barbecue in Georgetown, Texas. The last segment, we're going to do the trivia between the offense and defensive teams. As Kelly Duvall texted, he just said the 2 representatives are the buffet killers, the O and D line. So that's awesome. Yeah, Kelly's in trouble now. So all right. So we're going to give one trivia question at a time. You'll be able to discuss it for about 15, 20 seconds with your teammates, and then we'll get the answers, keep track of the most points, and then we'll keep track as we go through the week, and then we'll have a prize, a trophy to take to coach's office, and we'll do something fun for the winning team at the end of the season. All right. Question number 1. Who is the only football player to rush for 2,000 yards in high school, college, and the NFL? And I do not have the Jeopardy music available. Yeah, but you have to say it on the microphone. So one at a time. So for the offensive line representative, Mr. Jeremiah Phillips, what do we got?
Derrick Henry.
That is correct. Defensive had it too. I heard him. So one apiece.
No, Trent said Eric Dickerson. I heard him.
All right. Who holds the best rookie passer rating in NFL history? This is a good one.
Justin Herbert.
That is incorrect.
Patrick Mahomes.
No, incorrect. Can any of your parents answer the question? The NFL, it is who holds the best rookie passer rating in NFL history? His name is Dak Prescott. Oh,
When he's not hurt.
When he's not hurt. It's his rookie year.
Okay,
That's all. Yeah. All right. I think you guys have heard of a guy that just retired, Drew Brees. How many times in Drew Brees' career did he pass for over 5,000 yards? How many seasons?
I was thinking of in a row. He did it 4 years in a row. I know that.
How many total seasons as he enters his first year of not playing football anymore? Drew Brees out of what high school? Westlake High School. All right, the offense is going to try to answer.
5.
That is correct. Offense gets a point. All right. So now the last question is kind of has 4 parts to it. But the first person to say they can answer, we'll give them the chance at all 4 parts of it. But we'll start with name the 2 teams with the most Super Bowls in NFL history. Most Super Bowl wins.
The Patriots and the Steelers.
That is incorrect.
Steelers have more than the Cowboys?
The Cowboys and the Steelers.
That is incorrect.
The Cowboys
Wow.
and the Patriots.
No.
49ers and the Patriots.
Steelers and the Packers.
That's close. No. Who did you say? Hold on. You,
No, that's not. I've said.
who was the first one you said?
The Steelers and the Patriots.
That's correct. Okay. How many? Now, here, part 2 to that question. How many have they won?
So the Patriots have 6, and the Steelers have 4. That's right.
He says 5.
Big Ben won 2.
Steelers at 5.
Yeah, Steelers at 5. That's what I said.
Okay. That's incorrect. So the Steelers and the England Patriots both have 6. So part number 3, name the only other 2 teams with 5 NFL championships.
The 49ers and the Cowboys.
Correct. So we'll give the offense a point on that one. So we'll try to do, at least at the last question of every week, a multi-part question to see how many you can get as we delve into different guesses. Well, Kelly is off in La La Land in Utah working tonight. Dave, we get ready for a Friday night in Copper's Cove, an opportunity to go 1-1 on the season. But more than that, an opportunity for this team to continue to grow. I think the biggest part of this is we're ready to go to district play, and the preparation comes through 3 challenging non-district games. District 2, non-district game number 2 on the road in Copper's Cove. It's going to be a challenge. What do you see?
It's a great challenge. You know, hats off to the coaching staff to schedule these kind of games to challenge the kids and push them to get better and better. In the fire service and the police service, if you don't make a mistake, you're not learning. You make a mistake, you're going to learn from it and hopefully not do it again. So the kids are learning really fast with 6A opponents. And then I really liked what Coach was talking about. We're going to see Liberty Hill in the future. Let's start playing them now. So it'll be interesting to see how District 11 5A bounces back and gets back what we're normally used to. So, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun seeing the speed. Copper's Cove has a lot of history of sending kids to the NFL. So we know they historically have good talent, but so do we. There's a lot of people I talked to over the years in Central Texas that grew up in Central Texas playing against Georgetown, and they always hated playing Georgetown because they were always sore the next week. They were just beat up because Georgetown kids hit so hard. So it's going to be a fun game. Make the trip. If you can't, we'll be online.
The one thing I think I took away the most from talking to Coach Griffin and talking to Trent and Darson was the fact that the response in practice on Monday through today to have the best practice of the week today, right before we're getting ready for Thursday and getting prepped for Friday morning. I think I hear it's a hit. There was a lot of tacos consumed on Friday of last week by the team, but I think it's a good response. The inexperienced, but a tough battle against Belton.
They in it the whole time.
And then to come back Monday with a great attitude and ready to work towards the next goal, which is win week 2. And so we will have it live here, SHN Sports, 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff. But a short drive up the road to Copper's Cove. Join us if you can. The Eagles will be in action on Friday night.
I want to thank the student athletes for coming out here. I know y'all are supposed to be doing homework, right? But thank you for coming out here tonight. Eagle Nation showing up. Good turnout.
And so we'll be back next week, and we'll put it all online, tweet it out, and tag Coach in it so we can send it out through the school so everyone can hear about it and keep growing this thing. But Friday night, 7 o'clock in Copper's Cove, the Georgetown Eagles take on the Copper's Cove Bulldogs. They spell it so weird. So, but we'll take on the Bulldogs live here on SHN Sports. If you can't be there, join us, and we will see you next week.